Coming up on Mountain News this morning, the cleanup from a deadly storm in Prestonsburg continues. We hear from the victim's family. A Kentucky group is in the Buckeye State this morning, helping our neighbors to the north clean up following a tornado outbreak. And some members of Congress have blocked a wide-ranging disaster relief bill that would have helped areas devastated by natural disasters for the third time.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, just a few seconds shy of 6 o'clock on Friday, May the 31st. I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for tuning in to Mountain News this morning. Well, yesterday we saw some rain, but no severe weather, thankfully. Today we might see just a little bit more rain. Those temperatures are going to make you saying, wow, it's feeling nice outside. Let's bring in Brandon to give you a better breakdown of those nice temperatures. Brandon, good morning.
Good morning and happy Friday to everyone. And again, it's going to be a situation where we're going to see that rain off and on throughout the day. But this morning, it's the fog, and it's not just in your head. It's actually outside. Let's take a look at Stonecrest Golf Course this morning, where it is thick and dense. So be careful of that as you travel this morning. Mountain Parkway also seeing some of that up in Powell County right there at Slade. So again, just be careful. Very dense fog across the region, zero visibility or close to it in a lot of areas this morning. Anything below 5 miles, which is most of the region, is very dense fog as you head through the first part of your day. A couple of showers trying to pop across parts of the region ahead of that cold front. We're going to continue to watch that trend as well. Go to live pinpoint Doppler radar. You can see them just a little bit there. Temperatures real quick. You can see low to mid 60s, even some upper 50s over into Southwest Virginia. Appcast today, chances for rain and temperatures only in the mid 70s. I'll have the rest of that forecast coming up here in just a few minutes. Will?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. Well, crews came together in downtown Prestonsburg Thursday to pick up what's left of the roof that blew off a building during Wednesday's severe weather, killing 61-year-old Michael Coleman. The National Weather Service says a downburst caused winds up to 80 miles an hour during the storm. Coleman was driving to a nearby restaurant with his fiancée when the roof broke away from the Hawk Shop building, killing him. His fiancée was not injured. Other cars and nearby businesses were also damaged. People in the community of Prestonsburg are still shocked at the amount of damage done in such a short time.
When I got to the front of my building and looked out the window, that's when, to my surprise, there was a roof on the street.
I mean, you could see trees and leaves and branches swarming everywhere.
Officials say the building is expected to stay in place and the owners have hired a contractor to assess the damages. Now for Michael Coleman's family, Wednesday is a day that they'll never forget, no matter how hard they try to. WYMT's Justin Kay sat down and talked with Coleman's sisters as well as friends who worked alongside him to learn about the legacy he leaves behind.
Cancer didn't take him and heart problems didn't take him. Just a freak accident.
Michael Coleman, the oldest of 5 children, father of 2, and even a great-grandfather.
He will always, of course, be missed by his family and his friends.
Coleman's family says he loved the outdoors, hunting, fishing, camping. He loved all of it.
He gardened every year and raised the biggest gardens. And every year he said he wasn't going to do it again that much, but he gave it all away. I mean, he canned some and put some in the freezer, but it gave him so much joy to give to others.
His ability to make people laugh and his generosity, those are what his family members hold on to in the wake of the incident.
He always would mow family cemeteries for his family, I mean for his friends and neighbors and stuff, and of course plow for their gardens, and even money, you know, if people needed a helping hand or whatever. He was just always generous.
Coleman also worked for 33 years at Pike County Schools. Those who knew him say he was a hard-working blue-collar man who worked his way up from the bottom before becoming maintenance manager of the schools.
After 33 years, he touched a lot of lives here, and it's hard to see people that work their whole lives. You want to see them retire and enjoy themselves, and it's just just such a tragic accident.
As a 15-year cancer survivor, loved ones have no other way to describe what happened other than a tragedy.
As we've all said, this would be a way he would want to just go out and not be sick, not suffer.
Coming together to remember happy memories after a sudden loss.
Now, Coleman's visitation will be held Friday at Thacker Memorial Funeral Home beginning at 6. Funeral services will start at 7. Also at the funeral home, Coleman will be buried Sunday at a family cemetery. Family members say he was a proud Mason and will have a Masonic rite ceremony this weekend. 17 volunteers are in Ohio this week helping people recover from tornadoes. The group of Kentucky Baptist relief workers are cutting away trees and limbs and giving hope to people who need it. WYMT's Phil Pendleton is there to show us what they are doing.
This is Beaver Creek, Ohio. This is Clubside Drive. This is not one of the hardest hit areas, but there is still a lot of cleaning up to do. And a group of Kentucky Baptists are here to lend a big helping hand.
So I figured it'd be a week before we saw him.
David Kowalski did not suffer the devastating damage some of his townsfolk did, but it's still a big headache wondering what to do when part of a massive tree crashed down across both his and his neighbors' backyards.
They can't believe you're here doing it.
Big or small, every job is important to the 17 volunteers with Kentucky Baptist Relief who make it their mission to help people.
We just want to show the love of Christ in us, be his hands and feet here in the Dayton area.
God bless you. These guys are hard to miss with their matching yellow shirts, and even before their work began, the thanks were already coming their way.
I have had people to stop me in the street driving down the road and just roll the window down and start crying and say, thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. We need your help.
I just think it's awesome. It's fantastic that they left their home, they left their families to come and help us, and I really appreciate it.
Removing a tree from your property can be very, very expensive, and some people, I am told, and very sadly, will charge the elderly a lot of money to have it done. Kentucky Baptists say what they do carries no price tag. And a lot of people tell me what they do is simply priceless. In Beaver Creek, Ohio, Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
Now, before leaving each home, the men leave the homeowner with a Bible signed by all the men working on the crew. Meanwhile, people in Linwood, Kansas are picking up the pieces after their own EF4 tornado touched down Tuesday. Among the victims is a man who's been through this before, but it was much worse that first time. The first tornado in 2003 took something irreplaceable from Denny Roberts, his wife Sherry. So Roberts, who watched Tuesday's tornado come towards Linwood, knew what he was looking at and how deadly it could be.
To me last night, it didn't sound like a train, it sounded like a plane. Even the pressure, in your ears, when you start to take off, I felt all that. And I went downstairs and got me a chair and sat underneath the stairway and told, good Lord, I don't want to go, but if you after me, I'm ready.
Surveying his damage in the light of day, Roberts knows he can never lose anything as precious as he did back in 2003. Well, new this morning, there is an emergency in Arkansas. After already facing tornadoes and deadly floods this week, the state is preparing for never-before-seen flooding that's expected to wreak havoc across the state for weeks to come. Reed Binion has the latest.
It's hard to imagine the magnitude of the flooding. It is difficult to comprehend.
Right now, a slow-moving disaster is unfolding in Arkansas. Historic flooding is devastating the state.
We've never seen this before. We've never had to deal with this before, so there are a lot of unknowns.
Rising waters from the Arkansas River have taken over entire communities.
We have over 500 homes that have been affected here in Arkansas thus far, and that's probably a conservative number. But one of the greatest impacts we see is in the farmland that has been flooded, thousands of acres.
Ports are now shut down along the swollen river, delivering a devastating blow to the state's economy.
The Arkansas River Navigation System produces about $23 million a day in economic activity for our state, and we're losing that right now.
Despite already facing tornadoes and deadly floods this week, officials are sending out a message, letting people know this record-breaking flooding isn't going away anytime soon.
We need prayers. We need people to be calm. We need a caring heart. We need patience, patience, patience. Everybody's chomping at the bits to do something. This is going to be a several-month process, and safety first.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Now, it looks like the third time is not the charm for Democrats hoping to pass a disaster relief bill. On Thursday, another GOP lawmaker blocked the $19.1 billion bill from passing the U.S. House. Republican Congressman John Rose said he was concerned the bill was being brought to the floor when most members were away in their home districts. This is the third time in less than 1 week that the bill has failed to be passed by unanimous consent. In other news, wildfires are scorching parts of Florida. The state's Forest Service reports there are 66 active wildfires currently burning. Officials say more than 90% of the blazes are classified as 100% contained. The forecast fire danger indices over much of Florida as moderate to high. 2 counties in Metro Jacksonville as very high. Well, cracking down on stranded vehicles. The Perry County Sheriff's Office has removed several vehicles left along roads in an effort to keep the community clean. Police say if a vehicle sits in the same spot on public property for 3 consecutive days, you can report it. If a car is left behind, drivers will not face charges, but they can expect to pay towing and storage fees. If the vehicles are stolen, more bills add on. Sheriff Joe Ingles says there are benefits for drivers who choose not to leave their car behind.
You call most salvage yards, they will pay you if you've got title to recycle your vehicle. So it's actually something you can make money out of.
Police ask if your vehicle breaks down, avoid towing fees by leaving a note or give them a call if a mechanic is on the way to fix it. A Western Kentucky sheriff's deputy was fired earlier this month after details of his past came to light. In 2006, former Breckinridge County Deputy Anthony Phillips was arrested during an underage sex sting. Fast forward to 2018 when he was hired by the department. The sheriff there says Phillips worked for the department for 3 months before they let him go.
Well, if you're here in Perry County, up on top of the ridges, a little bit of clearing, but not here in the valley. Let's take a look at Buffalo Mountain here this morning, and look at that. Sky is trying to clear out. Maybe just a little bit of sun trying to come up over the hillside there, but for the most part, all quiet here in the mountains right now. I-64 is not quiet. It is very dense fog up there this morning, so again, be careful. I remember the last time we had this kind of a foggy morning, we had a pretty bad crash on Interstate 64, so just kind of keep that in mind as you travel. Give yourself plenty of room between other cars. Visibility is bad everywhere, especially in those valley locations, so just give yourself plenty of time to get around this morning. Satellite radar loop last 6 hours. Few showers starting to fire across parts of central and southern Kentucky ahead of that cold front. Temperature is already cooling down, upper 50s in southwest Virginia, lows to mid 60s across most of eastern and southern Kentucky, southwest Virginia, and east Tennessee. Temperature change from yesterday, a couple spots up a degree or 2, but most spots down a few degrees. 12-hour planner, 74 this afternoon, but chances for showers and storms, garden variety storms, are possible as we head throughout the day. Will?
I'm going to say this as plain as possible. With the fog on, even as the sun starts to come out, turn on your lights. Don't have your brights on either. Thank you. Thank you for joining us right here on Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Coming up, a father and son team in New England has developed a strategy to help patients at risk of sudden cardiac death. And later, the latest in the ongoing measles outbreak, which continues to grow and has set a new record for cases.